So, talk to me. How did you get into bike fitting?
How I got into bike fitting was more, I was like the guy who just tried to do it himself, and it never ended over the course of many years of trial and error and fixing things. I got into bike fitting after I started cycling, and I came out of gymnastics, which was my first sport, which I was always expected to kind of do pretty well at least that's what I thought. Then when I moved into cycling, I was like, well, of course I'm going to be good because like I'm young and I want to be the best. So it was quite an ego hit to then be getting overtaken and like annihilated by old men with hairy legs and like on a dual carriageway on a flat bit of road where I should easily be destroying them when I wanted to go and ride big races. So I was like, oh, the only explanation for this is obviously my bike position can't be right. And I got really interested in bike fitting, and there was more nuance to it because when I was getting dropped, for instance, I felt that my right quad doesn't feel as good as my left quad. So like it'd be like this similar sensation to when you're in the gym and your quad's feeling pumped from something, and I would get that on one side but never the other. And then I would adjust my bike to maybe help me change those sensations, and then I would get a new sensation on like my left foot, and then my right foot would feel totally fine, and then I would move my cleat, and then all of a sudden like the other foot would feel weird, and it just was like this never-ending cycle of why the hell am I feeling weird on my bike. So it just got me really interested in just trying to figure out how to get this right. And I would film myself, and I would make my own adjustments, and at the same time I was doing a sports science degree, so I just did a little bit of self-directed study in my degree, loads of background reading, and all of this was just to work out my own bike position, so I would be better. None of this was to end up doing it for other people one day. But when I finished my degree, the only thing I ever really fancied doing was like working for myself, having my own business. So I started doing coaching. So I would find cyclists and I would offer them a 12-week training plan. Week 1 we'd do a 20-minute power test. Week 12 we'd do another 20-minute power test after their course of training and see if they got any better. And it was during those power tests I would look at someone's position and be like, we can do better than this for you. And that's honestly how it started. So I would rent space from this other guy's bike shop, and I would do my little power tests, and then from there it would be, my mate would find out that I would be able to help him, and so then like could I also help his dad, and then his dad's mates got recommended, and I would just sort of like have this combination of people coming around to my house, and I would do it there, and then I would do it in this other guy's bike shop, and eventually it led to me just renting space in a shop, and I bought like a bike fit camera, so I got a loan to like buy this retail bike fitting like system, if you like.
How much does that cost?
It was like 16 grand, but it was 2014, so it was a lot of money back then. Especially when you're in your early 20s. And you're like, but then I think it was quite funny because in the loan application, they were like, if everything goes wrong and your business fails, how will you pay back the loan? And I literally wrote, I'll just get a job in Tesco and pay it back. And the guy actually mentioned that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that was me on my way. And actually, this might come as a surprise to you because I know we've been talking a little bit off camera, but very early on, I got really interested in making content. So I was really interested in making videos, and that had always been, I think my personality has been more like to showcase things than be kind of more introverted. And I actually made a load of pretty good videos on how to set up your cleats, how to set up your bike, and I got really self-conscious and never made them. And I actually still have the memory cards for one or two of those videos.
Really?
I've never fully decided I was going to make them, but basically I got so self-conscious I couldn't ever release them. And I always kick myself because this was back in 2016, and I'm like, I could have.
That's early days.
That's early days. That's YouTube early. Yeah. And I didn't do it. So, and that's a massive lesson early on that I was like, man.
And what stopped you? Just the cringe.
Just the cringe. But at the time I felt cringe. I was like, who's ever going to take that seriously? But now I guess I feel a lot more confident in my own knowledge in that subject area. I was a newer bike fitter. No one knew who I was. And I was potentially still maybe questioning my own knowledge, which I think is why I never published it, because I was like, I'm not going to come across as the guy that, I'll maybe be doubting myself if I put this video up. But I don't know. Anyway, I never did it. But basically then I just did one bike fit at a time for years and years. So this is back in 2014, 15, 16, 17, all the way through till COVID. Literally, I was just doing bike fits for £150 from 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, one after the other, as many days in a week as I could, and just made money like that.
Yeah.
And it was all right. It was hard work, but I always had enough money to go on holiday and buy useless bits of electronic equipment, like, I don't know, and then just kind of like, mess around, basically. And then it kind of came to a point where I'd had the business a while, and I was wanting to grow it, to become more serious, and almost show to myself that I could make the business.
Did you have a shop at this point?
So I was renting space from other shops at this point. And at this particular point of the story, it's COVID, I was renting space from basically like this photography print shop. So it was actually quite cool. The guy printed out like, photos from, little tiny little postage stamp size photos all the way up to like, posters the size of this table.
Yeah.
Like really unique, old school printers. Like, and he had a spare room in the back of his workshop, and I rented space from that. And it was like, really quite cheap. But for the first time, I wasn't necessarily strictly in someone else's bike shop. So I could start to sell bikes. I could start to fix bikes. I could start to...
The underground bike sale community in the back of a photo shop. Yeah,
exactly. So I could start to increase the size of my business because I had a flow of customers, of qualified leads that didn't just want a bike fit, they were wanting their bikes looked after, and so then I could start to offer those services as well. And I actually bought my first camera, so a Sony, my first good camera, I should say. I had a mirror camera, like a Canon thing, for a while. But then I bought my first Sony A7 Mark III because I'd sold some really expensive bike to this guy, and it's like, the perfect thing to do is to buy this. And because I started to get really interested in coming up first on Google for anything that I was selling. So you could sell, for instance, a product that I did, so a bike brand that I was selling quite a lot of at the time, this brand called Kyoto, which doesn't exist anymore. I was like, well, if I'm going to get people to buy bikes from my business, then I want my pages to come up first. And I don't want to mess around with Google Ads if I can optimize my organic search first. And which is not necessarily always the right idea, by the way, but this is the content angle. The content angle, I was like, well, okay, I'm going to just get a load of really cool slider videos of each of these bikes, and I'm also going to get really good photos of each of these bikes, and I'm going to then use like meta tagging to really optimize my pages. So this is like the first time I started using media properly. And like, sure enough, my website started doing better and better on Google Ads, or on Google Search. If you search Kyoto bikes, then I would start to come up first, and so I got quite a few sales just from having pretty good pictures, like high quality images of the products I was selling. And really, it was just I got lucky because the sun was coming in the window and it was hitting the bikes like perfectly, making them look, making them pop. But it worked, and the whole point is, for me, it was the first time where I had this idea that I was going to get really good images of something or good media of something, and it have an impact on my business. And
then what were you using before that? Just stock images of the bike?
Yeah, like the dumb thing would just be like generic product photography.
Yeah.
But it never sticks out in your head. Yeah. From there, I started to do more and more with just taking general videos, but I wasn't having the same success that I'd had with this particular photo shoot. I think I was got lucky with the particularly niche bike brand. Yeah. So then I was like, well, from the early days of being interested in YouTube, I knew that if I made a YouTube video, YouTube is owned by Google. If I made a YouTube video of a certain product, then if someone types in Google the name of that product, it would come up first on Google. And I'm like, well, then I can just link the YouTube video of the review I'm doing of that product to my website, and I can get sales like that. So that was like the first time that I was, oh yeah, okay, this is good. So I had this brand of cycling shoes that I'd been selling off the back of bike fits. So cycling shoes we don't want to go down a rabbit hole about cycling shoes, but it's one of the major things you could do to improve the quality of your bike fit is get your foot in the right position on a pedal. And quite a lot of people or bike manufacturers make shoes from just a generic last. That just means you've got this like sausage shaped like cylinder that then we build a cycling shoe around. It's not actually shaped like a foot at all, and so it's very poorly functionally fit. And this other brand, Lake, they have a lot of very expensive shoes that sell quite well off the back of Bike Fits, but you kind of need to know a little bit about why you want that shoe. So there's a lot of different models, and it's very confusing, and there's a lot of different uppers, and they're all very expensive, and there's different half sizes, and if you get the shoe wrong by a half size, then it's not going to be right for you. And like, what do you do as a consumer? Because if you've got sore feet on your bike, that's a total nightmare. So I came up with this idea of like, well, I'll just make a video of every Lake cycling shoe that they make, and they've maybe got like 20 different shoes at this point. And it was almost like blind optimism. I'm like, yeah, I'll do this. So I phoned up the distributor, and I was like, if you send me one of every shoe, I'll make a YouTube video of each of the shoes.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, yeah, all right. Cheers. And sure enough, he did actually. He said that. And I bought, like, basically I went on Amazon, and I bought the cheapest lighting I could find. Like, got loads and loads of light. Over the years, I'd accrued different things. So at one point I was interested in maybe doing podcasts. I had microphones. I had a good camera. I had a tripod. I just needed some lighting. Went on Amazon, bought some cheap lights, threw it all together. And over the course of 3 or 4 days, me and like all of the staff in the shop, I had like this guy, Ed, my admin guy, writing up the notes and just holding up like a bit of paper. It would be like, you know, the keynotes of the shoe.
That's your prompter. Just a piece of paper,
and then basically just put in the work. So just spent all day shooting these videos and all night editing them and just releasing them one at a time, uploading them onto my YouTube channel. And then the other half of the work was then creating the product pages for each of these shoes, and then linking the videos to the pages, embedding the videos. And then all of a sudden, surprise, surprise, if you typed in Lake CX239, or at the time it was an older model of shoe, but if you typed in Lake CX238, I did a couple of different reviews. So I compared different submodels of the shoes with each other, and I basically did a little bit of just telling you, if you've got this foot shape, you're going to need this shoe. Like nothing really that fancy, but it was enough that just from like a bike fitting context and the experience I had, I could provide a little bit of value. So I was like, well, put them out, and all of a sudden, after I looked back a few weeks later, they were getting loads of different views, and I started selling all these shoes online. And like holy shit, it worked. So I'm like, okay, right?
Nice.
So I go from selling no cycling shoes the year before online to then in the first year of doing it, selling about £20,000 worth of cycling shoes online. Next year, £35,000 worth of cycling shoes online, all just off the back of these videos.
And this is all organic, no paid promotion behind those videos.
No paid promotion, no. And then the thing is, you know, if we're having like a purely business conversation here, paid promotion is actually very good, and it just took me a while to work that out in a different way. But at the time, I was like, well, I want to optimize my organic search, because it just gets people. If I provide value, then people also get like. And for me at the time, I just did this to get people to find my website and buy shoes on my website. But what happened, which I did not expect at all, is I would get then people would come to the shop from London. They'd get a 4-hour train up from London, because they watched my YouTube video doing a review on the shoes, and all of a sudden, like, I was the guy who knew more about these shoes than anyone else as far as they were concerned. And they would come to me and get me to fit their shoes for them. And so then I'm selling not only like £40,000 worth of shoes online every year, I'm then getting about £40,000 worth of cycling shoe sales in the store as well, on top of the online stuff. And from customers that all of a sudden, they don't just know me from a local word of mouth context. They know me because I'm making content on YouTube that they're finding and they're watching and they're coming here. People emailing me from LA going, oh, I saw your video on the CX333. Like, what shoe do I buy? And I'm like, well, this one. And you know, selling people shoes. And this is the thing with content. As soon as someone watches it and they like you, your business, not everyone, but some people feel like they're obliged, or they want to buy something from you because you provided them with value.
They're bought into you.
Yeah, exactly. So then I would sell shoes to people in Norway, which is crazy. You know, I'd sell
all from just wanting to be front of the line when it goes on like a Google search.
Yeah.
That's insane. And at that point, you weren't in the shop that you're in now.
No, I wasn't. At this point, I'd got to this shop.
So you got to the shop. Tell me the story about getting into the shop. At what point did you realize I can't work out of this photographer's back room anymore? I need my own space. It
was the end of COVID, and a lot of things were going on in my own personal sphere, and I was also feeling like I wanted to have control over my business more.
Yeah.
And if I'm renting space at someone else's shop, if that shop shuts down and I've got nowhere to
you're
go,
fucked.
and that happened to me 3-4 times. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fast forwarding various parts of the
Yeah.
story, but like the very first store I rented out of, the shop shut. Second
Yeah.
store I rented out of, the shop shut.
You're putting your
Third
fate in
store-
someone else's hands.
Yeah, shop shut. Fourth one, I got kicked out because I wasn't fitting in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this had been the fifth premises I'd rented out in 5 and a bit years. So I'm needing to like just get my own feet on two ground. I want my own lease, my own store.
Yeah.
And then that's why I moved. And then, sorry, as you were asking.
No, so you set up the shop.
Yeah.
You've started doing YouTube to optimize for like searches.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, you're not doing much on Instagram.
I'm not really
Or YouTube
doing
at the
many
moment.
short form videos because my eyes hadn't been open to the power of it yet, and I couldn't work it out.
Yeah.
So first, after those videos, I was like, well, I want to be doing some short form stuff. I hired in a guy to come and help me do media. The guy was great and he did the best he could. The problem was I didn't understand media very well at this point. This is the early days, so I'd actually helped my mate, Big Si, mutual friend, make some reels. When he was on some holiday to the Maldives, he did some skipping workouts on his little balcony. They're pretty cool, and he's looking absolutely shredded. And he's like, "Oh, help me make a reel." And so then I think I was playing around making reels and trying to learn. Like not Photoshop, sorry, Premiere Pro, and try to work out how to make a reel in Premiere Pro. So that like I'd kind of like been playing around with Premiere Pro enough to know how to do reels.
Because you did your YouTubes on Premiere Pro as well. Or did you do those?
Yeah,
on,
I did
like,
my
iMovie?
YouTube. I did my YouTube on Premiere Pro, but like at this point, I had no idea how to use Premiere Pro, and that was a big learning curve as well.
Yeah.
That I think puts a lot of people off, like learning how to make reels, and it just from like a true sit down like media context thing, but like that's fine. That's a separate conversation. But that just took me a long time to learn. I didn't see the value in it, so I never put the time in. But over the course of several years, I dipped my toe in enough times that I started to really understand how to make reels a bit more quickly. And and then by this point, I'd paid for someone for about 6 months. I paid him quite a lot of money every month to make me some reels. Wasn't really going that well. I was like, people aren't interested in bike fight content. And because I wasn't getting any views. And then I did like one or two that got slightly more views. And I noticed that it was when I was providing a good bit of information that was really genuinely helpful. And so, of course, what I taught myself by doing that was, yes, the way that the content was edited wasn't hitting very well, but there was useful information that people were liking in these reels. So that was just enough to like just sit in the back of my brain at least for later. And then
I got a question for you on that.
Yeah.
If you pause there, so you've gone from knowing there's value in the reels, knowing there's potential in the reels, to then making the shift from paying someone else to do it to doing it yourself. What was the biggest difference between what you were creating and what he was creating?
it's the freedom of creation. So when I was paying someone else to do it, I put everything in their hands and tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
And so then I would find myself in shoots not really knowing what I was going to shoot that day. I was finding myself being told by the guy who I'd paid, oh, we could try this, we could try that. And I was almost expecting, because I was paying him money to tell me what to do. And I think that I wasn't taking ownership of the content, which I think was the biggest lesson.
And you're like the master of the craft.
Yeah,
You've outsourced your craft to someone
Basically.
else to tell you the ideas.
Yeah. So then, but that's on me. I think what happened was in the interim period, I'd played around a couple of times with different reels, because by this point I was getting quite interested, because I was like, I actually really want my Instagram to pop off because I can see a use case for it for my business. And it was just by looking at how reels like that were getting bigger view counts, some of them my own reels, some of them other reels, like what is getting bigger view counts? Like what in that reel was it quick? Was it just interesting? Did it have a good hook? How was it cut together? Was it a good transition? Was it funny?
Yeah.
Was it, and basically just critically appraising like reels, just consuming.
Consuming and learning at the same time.
And just becoming slightly obsessed with this whole craft. And it happened when I posted a reel that I'd seen a guy make a reel that got about 20,000 views, and by this point, the most views I'd ever had on something was maybe like 5,000 or 6,000, and then I saw him like basically it was a new product for his back gears, this big OSPW essentially, and he was zoomed in and then zoomed out, and basically when he zoomed in, it obscured the rear gears, and he pulled out, and of course then the upgrades revealed. So it's like a reveal transition. And it had like 30,000 views or something. I was like, I could totally do that. And of course I did. I emulated it. And then all of a sudden, the very first time, I've got a reel that hit like 15,000 views pretty quickly. And I'm like, whoa, like, yeah, this works. Like, okay. So then in my head, I'm like, well, I've done all this stuff in the past. I know, like, I've done more bike fits than anyone else in Scotland at this point. And one of the most experienced bike fitters probably in the UK, if not the world. Not the most, not the best, but I've got a lot of experience now. Yeah. And I know, and I've worked with clients, and they come in, a lot of them with the same problems. So I know a lot about what my ideal customer generally struggles with on bikes. Yeah. I know a lot. And it's no secret. It's just I've sat and done it for 10 years by this point. So if I don't know, it's a bigger problem.
Then you've done something wrong.
Yeah. So then I'm like, right, what are the things that I get annoyed on behalf of my clients for? I'm like, you've bought that bike from a shop and the handlebars are way too wide and it's hurting your shoulders. That's annoying because I'm like, you've spent $5,000 on that bike. It should just come with the right width bars. But it never does because no one ever asks because they don't know. And the shop's not going to do it for you for free without you asking. Or the manufacturer's not going to make it. And so then I'm like, well, I'm just going to make content that at least it educates customers. Like if you're getting a sore shoulder, then it's probably because the hoods or the handlebars in the wrong position, or there's a billion ideas that you could make about anything on any business. If you've got, if your grass keeps dying in your garden, there's probably a reason. And you're a gardener, you probably know the answer to that, right? So like the whole idea was to just start to brainstorm different concepts, 5 reasons why, 5 solutions for, like, if you get sore this, then do that, or just but then infinitely different contexts, because there's so many different variables with bikes, like different products. So there's loads of ideas. You're never going to run out of ideas when it comes to content. But what I then discovered was, how could then I apply it to pain points or desired outcomes of the customers I see on a regular basis, and how could I get that information into a reel in a minute?
Yeah. And then I presume you fucked it pretty hard. Like, you're not going to go from having all this stuff to say to getting it all into a reel, and the first one fucking strikes out of the park.
Well, it did.
No way.
Seriously. So what happened was, at the time, I had this bike fitter called Stuart, who was an ex-pro rider, really nice guy, and he'd kind of promised me that he'd give me a couple hours of his time to make some content. So he was like, right, I'm going to do this. And I was like, right, okay, Stuart, you could come in. I can't even remember. Say it's like, come in on 2:00 on Wednesday afternoon, and I'm just going to make reels. I've got some really good ideas. Because at this point, in my head, from all the playing around and all the experimenting that I'd done over the years, I was like, in my head, I saw how I could get some reels to work. So I was going to do a reel and show someone how to set their handlebars up. And I was also going to do a reel and show someone how to sit better on a saddle. And my ideas were, I would look and see what content was working from similar pages. So people are watching. There's another guy, Bike Fit James. Like, so like what content does he make? But then I'm like, no one in my particular niche talks to the camera that well. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to talk to the camera. I'm going to call out my audience. So I started off a lot of these reels. I would say, cyclists, if you get sore hands on the drops, then it could be because your saddle's pointing down and you're falling forwards and you're putting weight into your hands. Or if you keep on getting numbness in the seat, you could try lowering the saddle, because if it's too high, it's going to press into your soft tissue, make it uncomfortable. Or you could try checking your saddle for sag to see basically if the waist is sagging when you're sitting on it, and it's meaning that the hard shell is pressing up into places you don't want it. So all these ideas, right? And so then I just threw out 5 reels and uploaded them to YouTube Shorts. And the highest viewed video before that point, I think it had, I don't know, like a couple hundred on YouTube maybe. There's one exception actually, which is quite funny. Had a thumbnail that did very well and got me quite a few views in the early days. But the those reels overnight, they got like, one of them got like 1,500 views, one of them got 5,000 views, one of them got like 300 views, and so I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah,
this is
it's
so
working.
good. And then I posted them to Instagram, and they all did really well on Instagram, and
Yeah.
so I'm like, fucking hell, like, okay, this
You're
worked.
cracking it, yeah.
So like I felt, and it was quite good because it was reassuring. I'd noticed a way that I could potentially get good views, made 5 or 6 iterations of that style of reel that I wanted to create, and then all of a sudden they all like popped off on my socials, like 30,000 views, 100,000 views, like 250,000 views, and then I'm like, right, okay. So I just started to make reels all the time.
Yeah. Because there's a stat on the screen, and it was 96% of your likes, comments, and views all come from reels.
Yeah.
96% of everything from your page is just reels.
So I basically don't do posts. I just got obsessed with learning reels, and I think that for me, I'm still not finished with reels. Like a lot of it is like, how do you make it's not like how do I make the perfect reel, like some sort of reel monk, but
but how can you maximize it?
How can I maximize it? Because there's so many opportunities to make money for your business if you fully understand like the social media game.
Exactly.
And a lot of, and this is the thing, so I'm good at certain things, and I guess maybe my weaknesses are like, maybe I got a little bit too obsessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I basically ended up to the point where like ended up almost giving myself like a mental breakdown. So like I would buy more and more lighting. I then became obsessed with the production quality of my reels. So I would like buy ridiculous lenses, buy ridiculous bodies, so any commercial gain to my business was massively offset by the production cost I was giving myself. But at the time, I think I was more just obsessed with trying to make it the best. And I actually think long term, I got good payback from being so obsessed like that in the early days. And it did put the pressure on because it kept me making more. And what I was finding was by making more often, I was
more money in the business, or making more.
In the early days, I wasn't really getting. It took me a year of making reels before I started noticing anything in the business.
Okay.
But in that first year, I learned how to make good quality reels more quickly. So I understood how to use keyframes, and then I understood how to use keyframes better. Then I understood how to make keyframes more quickly. And then I understood how to. Then I would understand how to improve the sound. Then I would understand how to improve the lighting. Then I would start to experiment with more subject matters. Then I would start to experiment with cutting out and speeding up the reels to get rid of like the ehs and the uhs and the. I went through a phase of having the gain way too high on my camera, but just had no idea that was an issue. So you heard every breath I was taking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then the amount of time I spent deleting the between my words, oh my goodness, like hours of my life.
But that's standout though, because so many people would see the stuff that you post now. They'd be like, oh, his page has got 30,000 followers. Like, it must be easy. 36,000 followers. It must be easy for him. And then they just go and make the same thing, and they're super disheartened that the first one's not as good as what you put out, but they don't see the years and like
it was a long time
graft of learning it from like complete scratch.
Yeah, complete scratch. And also the thing that comes through, I think, in my reels is the fact that, like, I mean, I've just done lots of bike fits.
Yeah.
So that just comes through. And it's like I put my own spin on it, and I put my own personality into it as well, which I think that I can lean into myself a little bit, get a bit excited. And it's not over the top. I try and keep it professional. I just try and keep it like how I would treat a client in the shop. And that's my style. And I think that I think that I have a fan base, if you like.
You have a fan base or a group of like Edinburgh bike fitting loyalists.
Yeah.
You know? They just buy into that.
Exactly, yeah. And the thing is, like, I also think that I have a load of people who, as a result of my social media presence, probably would never come and use me.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be brave when you're making content to accept that, because I just think people think that I don't look much like a cyclist.
But you can be for anyone, not for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think that you have to be willing to upset half your potential customers to get the other half really excited about you to the point that they're going to spend their money. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll just get dribs and drabs and no one really cares.
So if we review so far, started on YouTube to maximize
long form
search.
YouTube.
Yeah, long form YouTube. Just got pretty good at understanding the graph that goes into making a video, editing it, posting it. You saw the return from that. You then got into short form. You had someone else doing it for you, but they didn't know the subject matter like you. You like outsourced it, which was the wrong thing to do at the time.
Yeah.
You took that back on, started understanding how to actually make reels that had retention.
Yeah.
Reviewed the insights and all the analytics that the page gave you and refined from there and just delivered information to your target audience.
Yeah.
Grew the page. And then it's no secret that your page thrives from comments. You know, like you sell a lot of stuff through comment this, or you'll prompt people to comment on a lot of things. Can you explain, one, how and why that works? And then secondly, what you're giving these people to like, what is so worth them commenting? Can you talk a bit about that?
I learned this from a couple of different places. I learned this from one thing that I found really useful is anytime I see an advert come up on Instagram that makes me want to buy the product, for whatever reason, I'll quickly swipe down on my phone, click record, and I'll screen record the advert and watch it back. And I'll be like, why was I hooked in? So that's one. So we can leave that for a second, right? Another thing I would do is I find really successful Instagrammers. So a guy that we both know of, the guy Sonny Webster. He's got high 500,000 followers on Instagram or something. I looked at a lot of what he was doing, and then I would look at things like, I mean, I get advertised to all the time for things like Shutterstock, or it would be like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like preset packages, right? And then so I just get ideas from that, and how can I apply that to my own page? So in the preset advert, so from the recording advert example, I watched an advert and this guy made this super slick advert on, like, he's like, if you spend hours editing content, then this is for you. And I'm subconsciously like, that's me. I spend hours editing content. It's like, look at all these sick fonts and these cool sound effects and these grainy, like, you know, whatever it is.
You immediately feel like this guy can help you.
So I'm watching this and I'm like, if I made an advert that good for my business, then I'd be loaded. So then
you just try and replicate that.
And so then for that one, it's like, he was like, and you know, if what's even better right now is we're running a 25% off promotion. So if you just comment easy, like easy edit, then I'll send you a code for 25% off. And so then I'm like, well, I did that for some insoles that I sell, and that made me a lot of money.
Was that your first real money maker from Comment This?
The insoles.
Yeah. And that was off the back of seeing someone else doing it, semi-replicating the format, providing value, and then being like, listen, guys, because that was what it was, wasn't it? It was you'd send them a discount code for insoles.
Comment insoles, and I'll give you a 25% discount on the insoles.
So not even just like, oh, I'll give you some free value. It's like, you will still pay me.
Yeah, you just put the price of the insoles up 25%. So, well, you know, you don't really. But at the same time, like, you just factor that in. Because the thing is, you just want to get someone to engage with your product.
But the interesting thing is, like, if we look at that reel, how did you qualify yourself? If we look at that reel specifically, how did you qualify yourself to be the guy that those people then trusted enough to be like, okay, I'll comment that, and then I'll go buy his insoles off him? What did that reel look like? I'll see if I can find it on the screen. If you explain it.
What I did is you go for so if you own any business, the amount that you know about the problems that your customers face on a daily basis is way more than they could ever imagine. And so that empowers you to be able to steer a customer in the right direction. You're not being a bad guy by highlighting benefits of, I don't know, like an energy efficient boiler, or in my case, an insole that's going to fill the void and make a really uncomfortable cycling shoe way more comfortable for the client's foot, improve the power transfer and improve the sensation throughout the whole pedal stroke, make the whole bike feel better. So then, like, what I'm trying to do is make a reel or make a bank of content that would educate a customer on the use case around pain points they have as specifically as I possibly can, and then say, well, I've got a product that can help you with this. If this is something that you're having issues with, comment insole and I'll give you a little bit of money off it. And then it's really good for call to action. So then And the call to action as well. I don't know if you want to have a look at this first or.
Let me have a see. Let me see if the insole one's on here.
Sore hands comment fit. See, that's.
We'll do reply fit. That got 24 comments. We'll see what she does. But they all follow the same format.
Oh, so this is a good example, right? Play this through. So if you pause it already. So then I start that reel, cyclist, 3 reasons, there are 3 ways you can make your pedal stroke more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So when I noticed whenever I published any long form or short form content on power or increasing power, everyone wants to get more powerful for the same. So then those reels always do really well. So that's probably why that did well. And then if you go up, reply fit and learn. I didn't even say that in the video. I don't even say reply fit. It was just in the comment. It's just in the caption. But because that reel popped off, it's got 2,500 likes on it, 27 reposts. It got a lot of views, and so then by the law of probably people checking out the page because of that, I got people to reply fit. However, if I'd said reply fit and work with me online, I probably would have got quadruple the number of calls to action. But then this is where I'm still learning and improving, because the thing is, like, really, content is now becoming such a massive part of my job that I have to hire other people in my business to do all the work, so that it gives me more time and creative freedom to make better reels to feed the business with work. Machine. Yeah, and that's the transition point that I'm in now.
Let's see what this one is.
That's a debate.
Still, just under 3,000 likes.
So I'm lightheartedly teasing the lady in that post by telling her there's a little plastic disc that sits between the cassette. Mm-hmm. So the cassette is the rear sprockets on your bike, and then the wheel, the spokes on the wheel. There's a plastic disc that stops if the bike's been bashed in transport. It stops when you go into the easiest gear at the back, the chain going into the spokes and self-destructing the spokes, self-destructing the bike, really, because it can cause a lot of damage. But if your bike's not damaged, then that plastic disc is just a complete waste of time, and it looks really uncool. So it's called the dork disc. So it's like, nothing is less cool than turning up to a race with a dork disc on, because people are going to know you have no idea what that is, otherwise it'd be off. And so I was saying that. And then, of course, I knew that there'd be loads of people who are thinking I'm the worst guy in the world, because there I am, slagging off a little lady who's got... And it's like, she was cool with it. And we had a good time. And also, I had loads of people that were backing me and saying, oh, thank goodness that guy, I wish I'd known that sooner.
You just split the internet in half.
Yeah, so then you have a look at some of the comments, and then, there you go, it would be top tier cool showing up to a race with a dork disc and win. And then, big, long, you can start to see, people are replying and get people talking in your comments. If you get people talking in your comments, there's 13 replies to one comment. What was that comment?
That one was...
What's even less cool is shops charging complete novices who can average 50 miles an hour, thousands of pounds on bikes, when a £500 bike would be the sensible thing to do. Well, my response to that comment is she bought that bike online. It was nothing to do with me. So I think anything that gets people commenting on your posts, if you can create something that's slightly contentious, because you've got to understand that Instagram, they make money by selling adverts. They only make money by selling adverts if you're on the platform. If you're on the platform for longer, or if your content is going to get you engaging with their platform, then they're going to promote that. Yeah. So then that's why the odd contentious post is, as long as you don't hurt anyone.
As long as you're not upsetting anyone. But to sum that up, I guess, you're not overcomplicating really anything.
No. You just
it's
make
super
loads.
Simple. You're just playing a volume game, and you're not struggling for ideas, because you live and breathe that work every single day for the last many years.
Any business owner who's had their business for even a few months can start to really has enough context to make good content.
So if you were speaking to someone and giving someone advice who was potentially just starting out their business, say not even in bike fitting, say it's an unknown niche. It's someone out there who wants to start and wants to get their name out there and wants to sell their service through social media. What advice are you going to give them? You've gained over 100,000 followers across all your platforms.
Well, you could give me an example of a business I could.
Okay, so it's
depends. It's a specific.
It's a cycling coach who wants to sell his service online.
You know, you could just be...
He's got 500 followers. He's just starting, but he's got experience behind him from a few years of like cycling.
I mean, straight away, you'd want to start working out what your client wants to truly gain as a result of paying for your product or service. Mm-hmm. So in a cycling coach, I would imagine you're, as a client, wanting to improve your fitness, you want to get held accountable, and you want to be, so you actually do the training, and you want to get, like for me, when I'm getting coached, I just quite like no messing around. So in that context there, I would be making or encouraging that coach to make content on like giving as much information as humanly possible away about what it is that they're selling.
Yeah.
So then to give you an example there, I would never want anyone I was giving advice to hold anything back.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a reel, and this can be valid to the example, if I'm doing a reel on trying to help someone with sore hands, I'm not going to not tell them my secret sauce. I'm going to tell them my secret sauce. I'm going to tell them exactly how to get that hood exactly right for their hand and how to exactly do it themselves. Because the beautiful part of this whole thing is they'll never do it themselves.
Yeah.
That's why they're watching. Some of them will. The 1 or 2% will that would never buy your product or service anyway.
Yeah.
Will do it themselves. And then the best bit is when it works, they'll like you.
Yeah.
And so they'll engage with your content and encourage other people to use it, and they'll share it with others and go, this really helped me, you should try it out.
Yeah.
And so that'll grow your following anyway. So what I would do to encourage anyone who's thinking about making content is think really carefully and about exactly how helpful you could make your content. The more helpful, the better. Like if I'm trying to, I don't know, install a new shower rail in my
yeah.
You know, and say I'm like a plumber or a joiner or whatever, I'd make a really useful video of how to install like a shower rail, and I would go through all the tools that you'd need. I'd go through like all the best ways how to get the hole just nice.
Yeah.
And then all I would realize by watching that video, like the hole for like, I don't know, the fixings, by watching that video, I'd realize that there's no way I could ever do it that well.
Yeah.
I'd just pay the guy
and
to
then you
come
just
and
pay
do
the guy to do it.
Yeah,
and you're like, at least you tried to help me.
Or if I'm trying to like learn how to improve my threshold, I would be like, comment workout, and I'll give you 3 of my very best threshold workouts. You try the workouts, you love the workouts, but what happens when you've done them? You need to progress them. How do you do that? Well, you need this coach. How do you know when to progress them? And so then you'd make content on how to progress your workouts. But then ultimately what's going to happen is that person's going to be following you for so long that eventually they're going to come and use your services anyway.
Yeah.
So I would just think about getting creative. How can you show it? Because I can tell you how to do something. It doesn't mean you're going to know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because you've never done it before. I could then tell you and show you at the same time. So then I'm getting creative with my camera angles, right? So then if we're going back to the bike fit, right? I'm going to tell you how to set up your saddle position. We're going to do some feedback loops. I'm going to get you to pedal backwards. I'm going to get you to relax your feet. I'm going to get you to feel if there's any dead spots through the bottom of the pedal stroke. Okay? I'm going to get you then, I'm going to tell you, this is a good one on bar tape, right? I'll tell you how to, people really love that one. There's so much wrong with that video, but also so much right with it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. But you are just giving them the full how-to.
I'm giving them the full how-to, yeah. I'm not... People would come in and pay us a lot of money to fit their bar tape for them.
Yeah.
And that's just how I do it. And I've done that 1,000 times in my bike fits, like with my eyes closed now.
So taking into account what you've just said, to wrap this up, say someone's done what you've said there, they've been posting for a couple months, but they're not seeing return. And they are stuck in like the 200-300 view jail, and they feel like, oh, fuck, man, like it's not working. What would your advice be to them then?
Just do more.
Just
do more. The only thing better than more is even more. But when you do more, just make some variations. So the best thing to do, multiple bits of advice, right? Not just 2 bits of advice. First bit of advice, there's always going to be one that's got better views. There'll be, if you're in 200-300 view jail, I guarantee you've got one that's got 500 views. Right, it's close to jail. It's kind of got one hand out the door, trying to fiddle with the key. It's picking the lock.
Yeah.
What is it doing compared to the other ones? So in my case, that was the reel where I know, like the reel that I'd seen someone else do well on, and then maybe I emulated it and it did really well. So then that, in my case, taught me to be quicker in what I was saying and how I was delivering. I don't want to, people aren't caring about this short ramble. If they lose interest in 2 seconds, you could have the best bit of information on second 10.
Yeah.
But if they're not there because they've swiped off after 2 seconds, that Instagram's going to see that reel as a piece of shit, and it's not going to show it to anyone unless they go on your page.
Yeah.
You'd be your mum that likes that reel.
Yeah.
You know,
or you on another account.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's the 500, there's like, or even the reel, if you're in 300 view jail, like there's the reel that's got 300 views.
Yeah.
Right. So then you're going to be like, right, what's that 300 view reel got that the 200 one hasn't?
Yeah.
And then you're going to do a little bit more of that. And then you're going to also just be self-critical. Like I've done so many reels that I look back on after 10 minutes and go like, no, like I could make that better myself. I know I could make that better. Could you improve the quality of the sound? Did you stutter your words? You know, are you saying all the time? Mm-hmm. Are you calling your audience out? You know, who's this audience? People have to know in the first 2 seconds what that's about. Otherwise they're going to leave. So in my, it's cyclists, or it'd be gardeners, or it'd be whatever, you know, like, you know, this is for you. If you like drinking sparkling water, this is for you.
Yeah.
You know? Have you seen?
Yeah. We got another 5 bottles down there.
So like that would be the first thing. That like you want to be looking at what is done best in your own content. Mm-hmm. The next thing you want to be doing and this depends, right? Because you can have a look at find people. They don't even have to be in your niche that have multiple million views. What's going on is it in that bit of content that's popping off? Does it tell a story? Is it really interesting? Is it fast and sharp? Is it funny?
Yeah.
Does it surprise you? You know, what is it about that content? So I think like putting in the hours and really truly understanding what content is, because everyone wants to make, I would love to be consistently pumping out 10, 20 million view reels. I'm not there yet, but the thing is, I'm not bitching about it.
You're just gonna go home and learn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just the part of and I was able to get to a point where I can kind of routinely get like minimum 30,000 views, and I can probably get up to 250,000 views. Pretty, like most posts are in that range now.
Yeah.
The odd post gets 2 to 3 million views, which is like amazing, and it's always like really happy. But then I could be like, right, well, what is it about the reels that do really well? I could take some of my own medicine and be like, right, I've got 3 or 4 reels that have done like loads better. Maybe it's 4 or 5 reels now that have done loads better than the other ones. And I take that time and sit down and work out what I've done well. Is it the subject matter? Is it the way it's been shot? Is it a bit of both? And so then that's how I approach trying to constantly improve. It's like going to the gym and trying to get better at weightlifting. It's like a constant like sit down and like my latest content's done really well because it's a different environment to what my audience has been used to. Usually I go inside a very like repetitive studio, everything's the same, it looks the same, and then
viewer fatigue.
And then basically then I did a whole load of stuff. I like had like a working relationship with Red Bull, go and have basically a load of my most recent content's got massive Red Bull content in the background, and like all of that, like I've had like massive uptick in subscribers and views across all platforms in the last month because the content's just looking a little bit different, but still is the same.
Yeah.
Still good value. And then I'm listening to what people would get frustrated because I wouldn't explain fully, like why. I wouldn't explain everything fully, and it wasn't because I was trying to withhold information. It was because I was trying to make the reel really quick.
Yeah.
And so then that would force me to kind of go back and be like, right, how can I get all of the information over in a single reel, and how do I do that? So I stopped getting people commenting saying, "You didn't tell me everything. Or you must be holding stuff back." It's like, no. Just if you watch it,
please.
Yeah. And so really, when I'm doing content, like bottom line, I'm just thinking, right, how do I tell someone everything I know about this subject as comprehensively and as quickly as possible, so that after watching a 1-minute clip, they would know how to do that, or how can I convey some context because it's about why someone's feeling a certain way on their bike, and just getting creative with that, just having a camera on and just capturing the interesting moments. That's really the essence of what I try and do.
Unreal. Yeah. Wow. There we go. Episode 1 with Doug, man.
Yeah, nice.
What should we do next time? What do you want to talk on next time?
Well, we could do deep dives on
We could do
anything.
deep... All right, next time, guys, we're going to do a deep dive on how Doug creates content that gets fuckloads, pardon my French, fuckloads of comments on and drives sales from simple organic reach. And then also, you do a lot of paid ad work, don't you, Doug?
I do know, yeah.
Doug does a lot of paid ad work now, like you just heard him say. So at some point, we can dive into that. But for the first couple of episodes with Doug, we're going to just primarily focus on organic content because that's most likely where you guys watching are right now. So if you've enjoyed it, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And Doug, where can they find you on social media?
Edinburgh Bike Fitting or Dougie Shaw, the Bike Fitter on YouTube.
Bosh. Right. See you later, guys.
See you later.
Peace.
Nice.
That was class. That was fucking...
Or the Bike Fitter on TikTok.
Or the Bike Fitter on TikTok, guys. That was sick.